Okay, we ready?
Yeah, are we ready?
Yes.
All right. Are we going on one or both?
Frank? One.
Just one? All right. And that's the earlier one?
October 17th is your date of offense on that.
And the other one?
Oh, you know what? I left my complaint
Okay, so it's two separate.
All right. Thank you for waiting. It wasn't too long of a wait. We're going to go ahead and get started on your Mr. Diaz's trial. Mr. Diaz, would you please stand? All right. Daniel Diaz, you are charged by complaint with the offense of driving while license is suspended. Do you wish the state to read the complaint out loud to the jury, or would you like to waive the reading of the complaint?
I'd like the state to read.
Okay, go ahead.
In the name and by the authority of the state of Texas, I, the undersigned offendant, do solemnly swear that I have good reason to believe and do believe that Daniel Andrew Diaz, hereinafter called defendant, on or about the 17th day of October 2012, and before the making and filing of this complaint in the territorial limits of the city of Tomball and the state of Texas, to wit, at the 29,900 block of Quinn Road, committed an offense against the laws of this state, and that the defendant operated a motor vehicle on a highway after the defendant's driver's license had been canceled, or during a period that the defendant's driver's license or privilege was suspended or revoked, or while the defendant's driver's license was expired and the license expired during the period of suspension, or that the defendant's driver's license has been denied. Against the peace and dignity of the state of Texas, signed by the offendant, Chris Burns.
And Mr. Diaz, how do you plead to the charge? Guilty or not guilty?
I would like to continue, I would like the record to show that I am here under protest, and I do refuse to enter a plea. I had refused before, and Andrew Walker had forced a plea upon me, and I am simply here under protest.
Okay. Well, the court will acknowledge that. According to the law, if you refuse to enter a plea, then at trial, then the law will imply a not guilty plea for you, which means that the state now has the burden of proving your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt in order to make a finding. So, but we'll note that you're not voluntarily entering a plea.
Thank you.
Have a seat.
Have a seat, Ron?
Yes, go ahead. Opening statement.
I'll waive my opening, yes.
All right, Mr. Diaz, do you want to start with an opening statement, or you can if you want to? You don't have to.
I'll try it. First time. Okay. Opening statement. Like I said, I am here under protest. Ultimately, I thought that I would come here and make a plea to the people, as I have fought this court for 6 years now. They had issued me a ticket, or they had wrongfully convicted me of no insurance back in 2006. I have shown them time and again proof that I did in fact have insurance. They have received it. I have also gone to other courts and shown them that I have given proof to this court, and nothing has ever been resolved about it. I've had this charge of driving with invalid license several times. Maybe I'm going to say 10 times, maybe more, maybe a little less. Every time I've tried to come into court, and it was dismissed because I showed them everything that I have, all the evidence, and I believe that they dismiss it because they don't want to deal with it. They'd rather me go back out on the street, and the officers of the Tomball, who some of them already know the situation, They use it and they pull me over for whichever reason they want to give. Rolling over the white line at a stop sign. You didn't use your turn signal 200 feet or 100 feet before an
Judge, I'm
intersection.
going to object to the statements about other citations. We're dealing with one specific citation on October 17th of 2012.
The objection is sustained. In terms of your opening statement, the issue is having to do with whether or not you committed this particular offense on this particular day. So those types of things are
On October,
not relevant.
okay, on October 17th. On October 17th, 2012, I had,
Also, I'll just indicate to you that you will have an opportunity to testify under oath. This is not the time to present evidence to the jury, but simply to give them an idea of what you believe will be shown and what your theory and approach to the case is. You will have an opportunity to testify.
okay, well, and I believe that with the evidence here, it will be shown that I did in fact have insurance back then, and under there's a doctrine, if I'm not mistaken, it's a bad proof doctrine, where if the original offense was, if there was something wrong where it was not an offense, if anything bad, if a bad seed and a plant grows from that seed, the fruit from that seed is no good. Therefore, the past charges, which were wrong, completely dismiss everything that comes from that, which includes these charges, or this charge. Thank you.
State, call your first witness.
Catch up here, Judge. I'll call Chris Burns.
You raise your right hand. Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give in this cause will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes. Go ahead, Mr.
Thank you, Judge. You state your name for court, please,
Christopher Burns.
and how are you employed?
I'm a peace officer with Tomball Police Department, State of Texas,
And how long have you been so employed?
since September 24, 2010.
And are you a certified peace officer?
Yes, sir.
What training do you have to go through in order to become a certified peace officer?
618 TCLOS approved hours and a course that they've set up an entire schedule for, as well as regular annual training on top of that.
And when you refer to TCLOS, that's the Texas, I'm gonna mess up the letters, but it's basically the state agencies who license police officers, correct?
Yes, sir.
Make sure you have the proper training, proper background check, proper proficiency in various things, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you have that certification, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And is this your first job in law enforcement?
Yes, sir.
So by my math, you've been on the job, what, about 2.5 years, right?
I've been on the street for about a year.
I want your attention to October 17th of 2012. Did you have an occasion to come in contact with Daniel Andrew Diaz?
Yes, sir.
And do you see Mr. Diaz in the courtroom today?
Yes, sir.
Can you indicate who he is by an article of clothing he's wearing?
He has a blue button-down long-sleeve shirt.
Well, ask the court to acknowledge that he's identified the defendant, Mr. Diaz.
It is acknowledged.
How did you come in contact with him on October 17th?
On a traffic stop.
How did that happen?
When I was on patrol on Tomball Parkway near Brown Road, we had a system in our cars. It's the automatic license plate reader, and what it does is it goes through a data. It alerts you to sexual offenders, stolen vehicles, and we just type it in with our warrants here in Tomball as well. So if a vehicle has somebody's gotten a ticket and it became a warrant from a vehicle, it'll come back with the license plate from the vehicle and the driver's license number, and that's it. And that gave me reasonable suspicion to initiate a traffic stop because Mr. Diaz's vehicle had alerted to show that there was a warrant to somebody who had driver's license number 18936674. So I ended up initiating a traffic stop to investigate further to see if that individual had a warrant.
To summarize, what you're saying is you type in a license plate number and it'll tell you various things, but the key part, it'll tell you, for your purposes or our purposes here today, is it'll tell you whether that person has unpaid or that vehicle comes back to unpaid tickets in the city of Tomball, right?
That's not fully correct. I don't enter in the license plate, it does it automatically.
Oh, it does it.
Every license plate we pass by, it runs it.
No kidding.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the license plate on the, what type of vehicle was he driving?
It was a Nissan sedan, tannish, goldish in color, older model.
So the computer in your vehicle popped back with that license plate and said, hey, there's some random individual, not Mr. Diaz, but somebody got a ticket in that car and didn't take care of the ticket.
That's correct.
Okay. And is it at that point that you initiated a traffic stop?
Yes, sir.
Objection. If it's a warrant that's coming back, the Constitution states that a warrant has to be a particular person, place, and things to be seized.
That's
So is it a particular person?
It's not, you'll have an opportunity to ask him questions. Do you have an objection to the evidence that's being elicited right now?
Yes, it's stating that a person, he states a person with the driver's license number 189-36674. Is there any other information that comes up to a particular person other than that driver's license number?
Judge, we're not claiming there's not a search warrant or arrest warrant in this case, that this is an offense that the officer observed.
Right. Okay. You certainly can ask him questions on cross-examination. At this point, I don't see the basis for sustaining an objection to the further testimony that's coming.
So after you observed the vehicle and you had this report back, what did you do?
Well, what you do in a situation like that, since at that point I did not have probable cause to make an arrest, because I didn't confirm that the warrant was for Mr. Diaz, I just had a reasonable suspicion to believe that the driver, that somebody who had driven that vehicle or maybe who was registered to has a warrant. So then I have to go there to ID the individual. So I go to ID him and I get his driver's license. And whenever I go back to the vehicle to look at the driver's license, compare it, it has the same number, but some of the other information is different. It's got a different name on that same descriptor, same number. So at that point, I run it through our computer, through TCIC, which is the database we run it through. See if you have warrants, see if you have, if your driver's license is invalid. And whenever I run it, it shows to be, it's got 4 different suspensions since 2007.
So when you ran that driver's license through your computer system, you said TCIC, which is Texas Crime Information Computer, correct?
Yes, sir.
Statewide database, right?
Yes, sir.
When you ran that driver's license that you had, what name came back to you?
Daniel Diaz.
Now, did you also note that in the Tomball system that there was another name attached to that driver's license?
Yes, sir. And our RMS system, which is our personal database, all the citations go into that database and all the arrests. So that way, it's our own with the city.
What was this other name that came back to?
I do not recall, but it was not Daniel Diaz.
Do you know how that confusion occurred?
Yes, sir.
How did that happen?
What I've summarized since then is that on a night that Mr. Diaz had been stopped and either given a citation or a warning, the officer stopped him and entered his information in, and then they conducted a second traffic stop after that, and they ended up giving a citation to the other individual for no driver's license because they didn't have one. And because of that, when they entered in the computer, they didn't erase his driver's license number and his height, weight, hair, and all the other descriptors.
So on some other night, some other officer, input error, somebody had crossed up Mr. Diaz and this other person. They both been stopped that night, but their information got kind of coordinated, right?
Yes, sir.
But in the state database, the driver's license number and Mr. Diaz matched up, correct?
That's correct, yes, sir.
Okay. When you